Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. In this video, we'll be making faux handmade texture paper 3 ways. Okay, so first we'll use some tissues or paper towels. Then we'll use tea bags. And finally, we'll use toilet paper. Oh yes, all of these here, they're all toilet paper. So this is the end product. It's the easy way of emulating the look of mulberry or handmade paper, but without all the equipment and all the steps and all the mess. Having said that, in my last video, I showed you this actual handmade paper that I used using book pages. And a lot of you are interested in this too, because look how gloriously beautiful this is. This tutorial is also coming up in the future, but in the meantime, let's take the easy way out and have a little fun. Okay, first thing we're going to have a play with is tissues or paper towels. And you know, we have stuff like this, and then we have stuff like this, which is what I'm going to use today because I love how these turn out. And just to show you the difference between the white paper towels, which is this one, and the brown paper towel, which is this one here. So you can see how you can get different kinds of effects. And then again, this is the brown one. Look at this. How gorgeous is this? But then, of course, you can go in with paints. You can go in with coffee or black tea to dye your white paper towels, also if you wish, during this process. So material ready to go. Next thing you need is glue, and what I'm using here is PVA glue or white school glue mixed with water, and I'm going to show you how I do that. You don't have to have any measurements, okay? Maybe you can do like 3 parts glue, 1 part water, or you can do half and half. It really depends on how runny your glue is. I'm using, like I said, this is it's called Kids PVA washable adhesive. It's just white glue, school glue, right? Anything can do. You can use Mod Podge. You might just want to water it down because you want a really runny glue. It's kind of difficult to see from this angle, but this glue, you know, you can see it's runny. Just to demonstrate, kind of, if you can see the consistency, it's runny, but it's not water-like. Like it's still a little bit draggy and gluggy, let's say. All right. So now in here, I'm going to add water. I'm gonna go to about here with water. All right, water is added, and now I'm going to mix and show you the difference. And here we go. So you can see this. I don't know if you can see the difference. Anyway, you can see this. It's like really runny. It's not gluggy, but it's still not, look at this, gluggy. Oh, nice and runny. All right, that's the consistency you want. You don't have to do this first, by the way, applying glue to your surface. I'm just doing it because I was demonstrating. So what I've got here is glass. You can use plastic, okay? You can glue your plastic bag down. You just want something that's not going to be moving around, because once we do what we're about to do, we have to peel it off, okay? Let's just do one thing at a time, and I'll talk you through the whole process. I just want to say that I have done something like this before a long time ago, and you may have seen that video. I'm going to link it down below. What we are doing today is a little bit different. We're still kind of, you know, this was done directly on paper. Today we're using tissue paper, we're using toilet paper and tea bags and all that kind of stuff. But for now, let's just stick to this. Okay, so as you can see, I'm painting the glue mixture right on top of this tissue or paper towel. And what I wanted to say about paper towel is the following. I think it's a good idea. It really depends on your paper towel. But I think if you can get those paper towel, like cheap ones, if you have the cheap ones that are not embossed and that are not 2-ply or 3-ply, usually they are 2-ply, but anyway, I just want to say that it's probably best to separate the plies, and I will show you why. All right, here's why. This is the first one that I did, and I didn't separate the pliers, and it pretty much stayed in its tissue. Like, you look at this and you can see that this is paper towel. Like, it even retained all of its things. And I'm pretty sure if I go in here, I might be able to even, it's not easy, you know, and I don't want to actually do it, but I might be able to separate, because this paper towel, very thick. And through trial and error, I realized that it actually looks better when you separate the plies. All right, now, if you want, you can go outside and get some dry leaves and break them up, or you can open up tea bags, which is what I've done. Actually, I've got a bit of both in here. You can use herbs, you can use dried flowers and whatnot. You can use threads and cheesecloth and anything that's flat that comes to mind. You can go ahead and sprinkle at this point. Then you get your next piece, you go on top and you kind of pat it down, pat away, and then you cover it with glue. So paper towels are designed to absorb moisture and to not break up and disintegrate very easily, unlike toilet paper. Toilet paper is designed to basically disintegrate in water, all right? I think what I'm trying to say is that when you're applying this mixture on top using a brush, you don't have to worry about paper tearing. And if it does tear, that's fine, because you can go over the top with another layer. And you can just keep on layering. The important thing here is to get rid of all of the bubbles. Lovely. Another thing you can do is get a little bit of coffee. This is instant coffee. And just, yeah, if you want to do that, if that's the kind of thing you want to go for, then just go on and sprinkle right on top. You might want to go in and grab your little orts, is the correct name, I believe. Just some threads if you've been saving them. I think what I found is that it looks better to do just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Like, if you look at this, I think this is too much. This is all black tea, by the way, that I sprinkled on top. Such as this. This is green tea, actually, but I don't think it matters. You can use so many different things. And like, go to your kitchen and raid the pantry. Maybe not the pantry, but the spices cabinet. And then you just sprinkle on top. Sprinkle away. You can get paprika. Like, I was going to try that, but I haven't done it yet. All right, I'm happy with this so far. We're a little bit closer now. I'm going to go in with my third layer. It's up to you how many layers you want to do. Obviously, the more layers, the thicker your paper. But the main thing is that the layers are all glued together. And then you just go ahead and paint. And this is such a satisfying project, I have to say. Last week I mentioned and I showed my handmade paper, actual handmade paper that I made from book pages. And let me tell you, that process was very tedious. And it took 2 hours to make a few pieces of paper. And it was just, I mean, I felt so accomplished afterwards. Like, I just love the fact that I made handmade paper, and I am going to do it again, and I'll do a tutorial and show you how to do it. But in the meantime, like, isn't this just a fabulous way to make a little piece of art, shall we say? And like, how satisfying is this? All right, at this point, I am finished with this. You can perhaps, I don't want to overwhelm you with all the possibilities, but you can like do so many things. Just have fun and have a play. I'm spraying with something, with this gold thing. Another thing I like to do is a little bit of coffee there, and then I like to do like the edges. Yeah, I don't know, have a little play. I like to do this. I kind of smoosh up the edges because the next step, actually we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but first, before the next step, at this point you really want to make sure that all of the air is out. I mean, no big deal if it isn't, but it will be nice. You can even go ahead and use your fingers and just smoosh away. You don't have to worry about absolutely anything. If your finger gets stuck in there and you make a big hole, you just go ahead and tear another piece and you start patching away. You know, you can use cheesecloth. I love using cheesecloth. I'm going to show you the other. You can do this, like put your finger in the coffee and do a bit of this and a bit of that, you know. Anyway, this is it. It's ready to go. I'm going to now dry it. Now, this is the important part. I'm going to show you what I do. First of all, I'm going to show you in a second, but I'm just going to tell you first. I have a towel set outside. Now, in the past, I would dry my projects on plastic. So I would do this on plastic, like on a cereal bag, and I will leave it on there for it to dry, so then it's easy to peel off. With this project, I don't do it like that because this is one of the first ones that I did. And what happens, you see this beautiful side, this is the side that dried up. And then this bottom side is this what it looks like, but it's got, look at that. Look at that. I do not like that. It's got that plasticky, sleek look. And the way that I realized that I, you know, can get around that is not to dry it on plastic. So I simply have a towel ready. I lift this up, put it on top of the towel, let it dry, and then it kind of does get a little bit stuck. I'll show you the process of that as well, peeling it off the towel, but it comes off in one piece. All right, towel ready outside. The door is open. Well, it's going to be open. Okay, door open. And now I need to peel this off and put it on a towel. Ideally, I would have someone filming me do this so you can see the actual me taking this to the towel. You can have the towel next to you, but I want it outside. But anyway, I don't have anyone here right now. So here's what we do. You know, you just peel it off. I mean, there's no, I gently lift. Look at this. It just comes off. And if it tears, who cares? But it's not gonna. I peel it off. I have it laying on my hands like a little baby. Okay, and really just carefully. It's not that fragile, it's pretty fragile, but peel it off, lift it off, take it outside. Okay, let's pretend I'm outside and this is my towel. I come to my towel and I lay it down and I leave it there. Okay, I'm gonna actually go and take it to the towel now. All right, peeling it off again. Taking it to my towel. Okay, I'm gonna show you in a sec, but I just want to tell you this. If you had a plastic bag and you did it on, when you go to peel it off your plastic bag, it's not gonna, because the plastic bag comes with it. That's why, like this glass thing, it's fabulous because it just stays put. If you don't have this glass thing and you're using just plastic, you can even use your table if you wanna. But if you're using plastic, just stick the plastic down, glue it down, like stick your taper down. All right, here it is. I'm outside and this is my disgusting towel that I use for this kind of thing. And here's the project drying, just sitting right there on top. I just took it out and it's still completely saturated and wet. So I'm going to show you when this is kind of almost dry and how it kind of sticks to the towel. Obviously, you don't want to do the whole process on the towel because towel then will become part of the project. This way, we just gently place it on the towel so it's not going to get stuck, right? I'm going to let that dry. And of course, because this process is so addictive, if you end up just making more and more and more. Now I'm going to do this tissue paper or paper towel. I actually took a couple of these from a restaurant because I knew that there's so many wonderful things that can be made with this. And I love how this is looking as fake handmade paper. All right, this is 2-ply, but it's quite glued together. So I'm not even gonna try and separate it. It's definitely 2-ply, but the thickness of this is the same thickness of this one, 1-ply. Okay, anyway, let's just do this thing. That's really not important. You just kind of decide, you know, if you need to separate or not. I suppose you start doing this and then you'll get a feel for your materials that you're using. I might go in with some of this stuff. Not that it's very visible on this one. By the way, when you're breaking up leaves, you can see those leaves that are broken up yesterday. You don't want very chunky things that are going to stick out and stick through your tissue. Okay, so now you can leave it at that. Just go and finish off with your last layer. Or you can go in and add some gold flakes. So you can see I have some gold flakes sandwiched, and then I have gold flakes on top. Obviously now I know gold flakes should go on top, so maybe I should do gold flakes. Another thing that I absolutely love is sandwiching cheese bag in between. So at this stage I would add what's it called, cheesecloth, I think it's called. Now I'm losing my words. This baby, now this is very, I think they have different gradings, and this one is probably the cheapest kind. See this? Lovely. I would sandwich that in between there. Well, I would put it on now and then go with another sheet on top. And I love how that looks and the sturdiness it gives. Look at this. I mean, you cannot deny. Look at this. Gorgeous. All right. This is your time to get creative and to have a little play. Clearly, I am going in with the threads again because I don't know, even though it kind of looks like hair, especially on camera right now, but I like it. All right, I'm going to pop this on top. So my second layer, or is it third? I don't know. And now the satisfying part. Paint from the middle out, that way you get less bubbles. All right, and now that that's all painted, now I'm gonna go in and perhaps remove some of that air. You can see, I don't know if you can see, it's very gloomy today. Nothing I can do about that, but you can see like air bubbles, you know. You can, like I said, use your finger. I'm not a big fan of doing it this way because then I have glue in my hands, but people say you can poke a hole and get it. I mean, you can, but I don't want to. All right, I'd rather do this. I don't know why. I just don't want to be poking holes. Flatten away is what we want to do. Okay, now I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to add some gold flakes. Here they are, my little gold flakes. I got them from a $2 shop, but they were $3. And then we're just going to flake away. Oh, that's a big flake. I did not want to use that flake. Maybe I can do this. Break it up a bit. Break it up, you two. Well, this isn't what I had in mind. I didn't want to have huge flakes like that. I wanted to kind of, oh goodness, it's just all going wrong, isn't it? I just wanted to do this, like I just wanted to dust them on. Now, it is what it is. So at this stage, we're just going to pretend that it's intentional. And now we're just going to go over the top with the glue. I mean, you can't go wrong with this project in general, I mean. Okay, I'm going to call this one done. And here comes the lifting off process. In this instance, I only have 2 layers, okay? So it's very thin. I need to open the door and now just peel it off, okay? And take it outside. All right, next one I said I'm going to do is tea bags. I actually ran out of paper towels. For the tea bags, I like my base to be a paper towel, even though tea bags alone will actually work. So I'm gonna pop this down. There's my little base. And I'm gonna paint away. By the way, I probably should have mentioned before when I was talking about how I'm using this glass. You can use your cutting mat. You can use your desk. I think I did say that. It doesn't have to be a peelable surface because nothing is stuck on it because you're going to be peeling it off. If you're thinking of leaving it on there to dry, that's a different story. All right, painted. Now, tea bags. Okay, I have a little box here. when I tea dye paper and things like that, and I just keep all of the tea bags, and I'm sure you do too. But if you don't, then perhaps now's the time to start saving your tea bags. I was also using a lot of tea for this project to sprinkle on top, and I have these tea bags. And of course, we can glue these tea bags down and then just add coffee on top. So, you know, okay, here come the tea bags. I'm gonna lay it on top and paint away. Now, even better, I'm actually running low. I only have these two left. Even better if you have different color tea bags. So I think there's black tea, then there's cranberry tea, you know, and then you get these different effects. I'm gonna use this one next. I kind of like to get rid of this edge, even though I didn't do it here, but here we go. The good thing with tea bags is tea bags are made not to disintegrate, so they're very strong, believe it or not. And because you can't have disintegrate, like you can't put a tea bag into a boiling cup of water and for it to fall apart. It's unacceptable. So this is actually really beautiful material to work with, and I've done so many videos using tea bags. Honestly, like I feel like, you know, I just love this material. But did you know that this isn't, I mean, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say this isn't paper. This isn't recyclable because it contains plastic. So you can Google that. I've spoken about that before. It's got like plasticky linings so that it doesn't disintegrate, which bad for environment, probably not that great for you, considering we're pouring boiling water over it and then drinking it, but great for this project. Make smaller pieces. And I'm just gonna add one more thing here just to perhaps break it up a little, just like so. All right, and that's done. So what I've done over here, as you've seen, is one sheet of one layer of tissue and then tea bags on top. What I probably should have done is 2 layers of tissues, because now I have to lift this up and hope that everything stays in place. And then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna come back and tell you something else. All right, outside it goes. And there it is, drying away outside next to its little friends. Next we're going to do toilet paper, but that's a slightly different kind of technique. But before we move on to toilet paper, I just wanted to show you these. These are tea bags that I did yesterday, and you can see what's going on. Like I even added some tea in between, and like tea leaves, and you just really experimented. This is the other side. So the first one that I did is actually this one here. So I just wanted to show you so you know. I started off just like I did now, 1 sheet of paper towel, and then I went in with the tea bags, just like what I did now. But then what I decided to do is to go over the top with another paper towel. And then what happened is these 2 different results. And you can see, I mean, which one looks better. You can tell straight away. You can't even tell that this is tea bags unless, I mean, look at this. I wish, you know what? I need a third arm, like I need a third hand, or I need an assistant. I need someone to film me doing this so you can see how gorgeous this is. I was gonna say gorge, but I stopped myself right in time. Okay, so I think it looks better if you don't put anything on top of the tea bags, because it mutes everything down. But still, this looks quite beautiful on its own, even though it somewhat retains the properties of paper towel. Like you can see the embossing, which is why I think if I was to do this again, which I will, I'm sure I will in the future, I'm gonna get paper towels that are not embossed, just the cheapest kind, These are probably the cheapest kind. What am I talking about? As if I buy expensive. I don't even buy this stuff. All right, next, the toilet paper. You know what? I just had to try the toilet paper. I had to do it, and let me show you something. A few months ago, my daughter was crafting, and she used watercolors and toilet paper, and she brought it to me to show me what she made. And I'm like, toilet paper? Like, it really got me thinking. She did not even use glue, like you can see it's coming off, but she just used watercolors. And I was like, wait a minute. So the toilet paper idea has been on my list for a while of all the things that, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of things that we can use toilet paper for in crafting. Perhaps people shy away from it because, you know, it's toilet paper, but, you know, I have no issue with it. So, toilet paper, hello. This is 3-ply toilet paper. Actually, 4-ply toilet paper. Oh, very luxurious in this household. Oh, yes, we are indeed. 4-ply tissue paper. But we don't want 4 plies because that's too thick to start off with. Or is it? No. So you can see 2 plies. I'm going to start off with 2 plies. Okay, now toilet paper is, like I said before, it is designed to disintegrate with water. So it's very flimsy, very easily tearable. It is terrible. Okay, but still we can make it work. And in fact, I think it looks glorious when the project when it's done. Okay, so you see this? Like it's already starting to tear. That's fine. It doesn't bother us. Oh no. Because we are going to make this work. I'm going to go in with the other 2 plies left over. Who wants to see toilet paper craft ideas? Do you wanna? You have to let me know. There's a bit of hair there. It's not hair, it's from all the fibers that I've been using because I'm actually using another project too. I mean, I'm doing another project that uses quite a lot of fibers and stuff like that. So my brush and my glue has been contaminato. Okay, now we're gonna go in with, you know, a bit of this and a bit of that. Oh, looking mighty fine already. Okay, let's pause for a moment. One thing I didn't mention so far in this video, I don't believe, is using color. So you can see here, all this red is actually watercolor. No, sorry. It's actually food coloring and the coffee. That's all I used. All right, and if I'm being honest, and I also, you can see like the cheesecloth. So this is your time now to get creative with all the things you want to use. Cheesecloth thread, I've got some of those gold sparkles, and I have, you know, all the threads, and like, look at this. And this, I think this might even be my favorite. It's just fun to play. That's what this is all about. So at this point, I might go in and add a bit of this and a bit of that. And then we're gonna grab another 2-ply. So I'm not applying this whole thing, even though I probably could, but I'm finding that when you're applying thick layers, it retains this look, which perhaps you like. Personally, I do not like this. I don't like this. It just looks like tissue paper. I mean, you know, there's plenty of other things I want to talk about, but I keep kind of jumping in the middle of it. This here, this is very thick. This here has a layer upon layer. You know what? We'll come back. Let's do this, and then we'll talk about all the other things that you can use instead of the 3 things I'm demonstrating today, and all the other things that you can do, and all the fun stuff. All right, pop it on top and paint away. Generally speaking, I would stop here, take it outside to dry, but I am going to add another 2-ply on top because now I might do a thread, or even there was something I was thinking of using and I haven't used it yet. So I thought perhaps I can, I don't know how this is gonna look, but I was thinking of these gold little hairs. This is taking way too much time. I want something quick. I just want to go in and like just do the thing rather than spend 2 minutes doing this, but I wanted to try it, and here we go. Like the only way you're gonna know if something's gonna work is if you try it. So I mean, obviously I'm stating the obvious, I know. Okay, I've had enough of that. Enough of that. Perhaps that is an idea that I shall not pursue. So I'm just gonna go in with some, I'm obsessed with threads clearly, and I think these dark, actually, I think it looks better if you're not using very dark threads because they can look like hair, like I said before, but it still looks all right. I'll get some coffee just there and there. And then I like to smoosh the edges in because it's easier for me to lift the toilet paper without the toilet paper tearing, because toilet paper tears very, very easily. All right, it's looking so nice. Oh, I completely forgot to put the top layer on. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? It doesn't matter. You know, we can smush away again. All right, so let's do this. I have completely just went on to the next thing without sealing the top. So all of those threads would probably just peel off, but here we go. So I actually forgot how many layers of toilet paper I have here. And that just proves it really does not matter. It really doesn't. You just, some of these have 3 layers, some have 4, some, I don't even know. I'm not keeping track. Smush away. It looked much better before, didn't it? Get a little bit of this and that. We can do vintage toilet paper. All right, now the lifting part. This is where I need an assistant to film me because it's hard, like to really see. I'm just gonna get these bits and stick them right on top, these bits of tea and stuff, because look at that, why not? And if it flakes off, it flakes off. Okay, here comes the lifting part. So toilet paper obviously is more difficult to work with because it tears easily, but just exactly the same way, I lift the edge and come in with the pads of my fingers. I'm treating it delicately, as delicately as possible, and then I gently peel off, oh, and off I go outside. And there it is, drying with its friends. Gorgeous. Now let's look at the first one we did. I think it was this one. So periodically I will come outside and kind of see where I'm up to. You can see that this one's already, well, you can't really, but it's still quite wet, but it's, the edges are already starting to get stuck on the towel. So throughout the drying process, it really depends if it's, you know, if it's raining and snowing and whatnot. Obviously I can't dry it outside, but still I would kind of come in and check on it, perhaps lift it a bit. Let's have a look at this one. I'm sorry, I know it's loud outside, but that's just the way it is. Okay, so I'm gonna let my little friends dry. And by the way, you don't have to use a towel to dry your things on, in case if you don't have a towel. You can use really anything that's material, that's not plastic, so that you don't get that plasticky look at the back, because the glue on the plastic will dry. You have that film of glue that looks like plastic, and it's not something that I'm going for. Whereas here, the glue kind of seeps into the material or towel or whatever it is you're using, and then you don't have that plasticky back. So while that is drying outside, I'm going to show you what I have so far done with my little pieces here, and also some of the other things that you can use too. So first of all, this is in that other video that I did a few years ago, and basically I did the same process as what I've just shown you, but I actually did it directly onto paper. Look how beautiful this is. And then this way I can use this beautiful handmade, faux handmade paper in my journals. They can be journaling pages. I have made covers, and in that video I actually show you all the things that I've made with this paper. So have a look at that video. I just want to have a look in my art journal. I'm pretty sure, here we go. I know I've shown this before, but this is the heart cutout. You can make cards and all sorts of fun stuff. Oh, I even have a feather in there. You can do that too. Some plants and fibers and feathers and anything that's nice and flat and can be glued down. Another thing that you can do is, of course, use napkin, but then this isn't really faux handmade paper. This is an entirely different project, but you know, you just glue a napkin on top of your tissue or your paper towel, and off you go. It's quite sturdy. Look at this. It's like a fabric, but it can still, if I try to tear it, I can do, you know, you can easily tear it. I don't want to tear it, but the glue gives it a little bit of a plasticky layers, especially if you have a layer and then another layer and then another, you know, so the glue gives it this. It gives it sturdiness. Okay, so that's the napkin idea. This is something entirely different. I will show you what this is. Now, don't ask me why I have this in my home, but I have it. And this is actually nappy liners. So I saw this on sale somewhere and I thought I can use it for like skincare and, you know, cleansing and all that kind of thing. And anyway, I used these sheets. So the reason why I'm showing you this is because you can do this process with dried wet wipes, with things that you use in your, you know, when you're painting and you're dabbing paint and you have all these beautiful colors, and you can use dryer sheets as well. So that's one that people always ask about. What can I do with dryer sheets? So that's why I'm showing you this. I didn't really enjoy this because, like I said, this is a nappy liner. Nappy liners are designed to absorb a lot of moisture, okay? And what happened here is this was gobbling up glue like you would not believe, like no tomorrow. I kept on applying and applying and applying and applying, and it was just like, when is this gonna end kind of thing, because it was just taking, it was gobbling it up. But I now have this. It's actual like sturdy fabric-y type of a thing. Perhaps not a big fan of the amount of tea stuff that I use, but what I do like about the tea stuff is that it kind of bleeds, I suppose you can say. So it looks like a galaxy. Look at that. I don't know, what do you think? Here's the other side. I might even like this side a little bit better. No, who am I kidding? I like this side. Okay, by the way, I don't think I've shown you, but here's the tea bag. It's just green tea, and then you cut it open, and of course you are going to save this part, the tea bag, because we will have a project with this particular thing in the future. And then yeah, you have all this gorgeousness to sprinkle on top of your project. Now this one here is layers upon layers. I don't even know how many layers because I just went and did it, and I just kept adding. And the colors that you see, you can use watercolors. This particular thing that I used is my own. I have a video, DIY alcohol inks using old markers, okay? So I have all of these alcohol inks, let's call them, from old markers that no longer work, and I made myself those inks, and then I just used that to kind of dab on and kept adding. I don't really like this side, don't like how it looks, the black, and you know, but anyway, this is gonna look nice when it's an actual something, when it's an actual project. You've seen this one of my favorites, just 2 little sheets of paper towel. Well, maybe more. I don't know how many layers. There's actually a lot more here. 3 layers of paper towels and loveliness. Okay, you've seen this one. This is that tissue paper from a restaurant, beautiful. And here's a larger piece that I made. I love this. Okay, tea bags. I don't know, for every single one that I've been showing you, I want to say this is my favorite, this is my favorite. I love them all, but I especially love the tea bags. Ooh, the things that we can make with this. Making stuff with this perhaps is a whole other video, but I did make a couple of things that I'm going to show you. And again, the cheesecloth just gives everything a lot more sturdiness, and it looks quite good as well. Just sandwich that cheesecloth in between. All right, next we have the toilet papers, which I've already shown you, so I'm not gonna, maybe we'll do another, just a little quick look. Is this one with the food coloring. I'm not sure how much I like the red, but I wanted it to be more pink like this one. I don't know, I actually prefer the look of these. Look at it. Isn't it just beautiful? I wish you could feel it. You will feel it because you will be making some. Will you not? That one. And then we have this one with the cheesecloth. This one, by the looks of it, I started with the cheesecloth. So I put the cheesecloth down, and then I went ahead and I applied the toilet paper on top. So it doesn't even have to be sandwiched. You know what you have to do? You just have to have a play and see what works for you. Look. Beautiful. All right, now I didn't make a lot of things, but I made some things, so I'm going to show you. With this first one that I hated, I didn't realize that I hated it until it was dry and done, but I've already done 2, I think it was. So with one of them, I cut it up into into 4 pieces because this one was also kind of coming apart. So I cut it up and went to the sewing machine and sewn around. And then, because I didn't like this tissue paper look, you know, you can right away you can see that, oh yeah, it looks like I should just throw it in the bin, really. It doesn't look like handmade paper. So anyway, once I cut it down, sewn around, I went ahead and embossed. So, oh, look at this side. So it's looking much better. I think this is all the right side. Look at it embossed. Isn't it just, it saves the day. Here's another one and another one. Looking nice. And another thing that I made with the toilet paper is, well, we have to make this one look pretty. Oh, look at this. It's a journal card. It's actually a little journal. Let's open it up. So you can see the toilet paper, and I added this trim on top just to make it, even though it looked quite nice without this thing on top. But I did it anyway. And I have some eyelets in there. And then I have this closure that runs underneath and through the eyelet. And inside I have a little journal, a little booklet. You know, just a junk journal type thing. So worth it because it's so beautiful and unique, and you can see the cheesecloth and, you know, the toilet paper. It has this thing, the tearing section, I don't know what it's called. So when I was making a journal, because I'm actually binding right there in the middle, I used one that has cheesecloth. But let's have a look at one that doesn't. So this one doesn't have the cheesecloth, and that tearing section is right there in the middle. Not that you can see it, you kind of can. And, you know, it's not going anywhere. I really don't want to try and rip it. I'm sure if I went like this that I would manage to rip it. But it's almost like fabric paper. It's because of that glue. Okay, I'm just gonna oh, by the way, you might be wondering about, you know, actually, we'll get to that thing you're wondering about. We'll get to it. Because in order to discuss that thing that you're wondering about, we have to wait for the projects outside, my little friends, to dry. And then we shall continue discussing. All right, I'll be back. All right, we're about halfway through the drying process. I just wanted to show you that, I mean, this is still wet, but I want to show you how it's starting to stick to the towel. You can leave it overnight, come back in the morning and just peel it off. It's fine. But I like to, I mean, I've done that as well, but I like to kind of, I think I already said this, so sorry about repeating, but, you know, I like to come in and try and not let it get stuck, you know, maybe move it around a bit, move it to the dry section and whatnot. Here's my bestie. This one's my best friend. Try to peel it off. See how it's stuck? See that? I just wanted to show you that you don't have to worry about your project getting stuck onto the towel, because you can always peel it off, which is very hard to do with one hand. I suggest using both hands. Here we go. Lovely. A few hours later, and my friends are dry. Here is the first one that we did. I'm pretty sure it was a couple of hours ago I did it. It dried nicely outside. Came right off. That's the back. That's the front. Looking not bad. Now, I wanted to tell you about this warping business, which is what I think you may be wondering about. But let me show you them first. This is the second one we did. See-through. Well, not fully see-through, but you know what I mean. And a bit of gold spackle and this and that. And then we have the tea bags. This is how it looks when it's completely dry. Well, if I'm being honest, it's not completely dry. It's nearly fully dry, but I can still feel it a little bit damp. But look, fabulous. And then this is definitely not dried yet. So I just got impatient and I couldn't wait any longer. But that's what it's looking like. It's going to look really cool. And you can see the bits that I put on top, they might come off after a little while. They kind of are flaking off. So you definitely want to seal it, but still looks okay without the little things. So yeah, this one needs to dry a little bit more, but ultimately that is what it's going to look like. So if you notice the papers that I have done prior to today, for example, these, you know, a lot of them were very warped, especially if it's windy outside and I'm kind of doing other stuff, and then I go to check on them and the wind has done this and now it's dried in this position. You know, it's all wonky and warpy and not nice and flat. So what I do at this point, you know, when they dry and back inside the house, especially with these ones, even though, as you can see, not much warpiness, but it's not dried yet. So anyway, what I do at this point is, of course, pop them on top of each other like so, and lay something heavy on top, and then leave it under there overnight or whatever. If you're impatient, another thing that you can do, of course, is baking paper, your project, baking paper, and of course something underneath to protect your surface, and then go ahead and iron. Yes, you can do that. I'm not doing that now because the iron is not hot. It's not hot. I'm just demonstrator in case you don't know how to iron. All right. And in case if you don't know how to iron, well, you've come this far in life, so perhaps it's best not to learn. Yana? Okay. Am I satisfied with this project? Oh, you bet I am. Are you satisfied with this project is what I'd like to know. I usually like to have a lot of examples to show you of what you can do with the things that you make, but not today. Unfortunately, this is all I have. Yes, well, something is better than nothing. But anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you done this before? I know I've already done a video on this before, so you may have done this before. Well, I'm not the only one who's done a video on this before, but I mean, I'm quite excited to have a play with this. I'm probably going to hoard these sheets for a little while like I usually do, because I think I'm just totally in love with this and the texture and the feel and the look and I love everything about it. And I have to say, it's a lot more fun than this. The process is a lot more fun, and I think it looks better, don't you? I mean, you can tell this isn't handmade paper. It's kind of like we're trying to emulate the thing, but this is the real deal. Not as much fun, but has its appeals, of course. You know, it's not quite the same thing. So we shall be doing a tutorial on this too in the future. But for now, I would love for you to leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts, any other ideas that I didn't explore in today's video, any other things that you can use, sprinkle on top. Just share your ideas. Sharing is caring. So let's all gather today. Anyway, I'll stop talking now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Surprise. Are you still here? Because this wasn't planned. But if you're still here, you deserve an award for staying until the end. Now, I'm going to do something that I never do, which is reveal next week's project. And guess what this is? Well, this is a prototype. And what it is a journal that has no binding. It's a no binding. It's the easiest journal you'll ever make. You do not need a needle. You do not need thread, none of that fiddly business. That's coming up next week.